What's going on, everybody? This is Marcus. Before I get started, I want to thank you guys so much for your support. It means everything to me, and you guys mean so much to me. I love you all so much. Make sure you like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel, and make sure you hit that bell to enable notifications whenever I drop a video. And we're gonna always keep this thing rolling. Miss Marvel, oh my gosh, it's really good. I definitely rank it a 10 out of 10. It's very captivating, it's in your face, and the story is compelling as well. So it definitely grabs your attention. And even though I definitely like the angle that they're actually doing by giving her the bracelet, even though it would have been better if she basically just got exposed to the terrigen gas, to where she actually got her powers to become a polymorph, to where her powers are similar to Mr. Fantastic, to where she stretches her body. But I like the angle that they're doing it too. So I know everybody was talking about the whole power changes and everything compared to the comics and how they're doing in the MCU. But as far as the story goes, fantastic. It definitely gives me Spider-Man Homecoming vibes too. So definitely one of my favorite episodes and my favorite series so far. But the first episode of Miss Marvel was definitely really great, and I know that it's definitely setting up the Marvels and also Secret Invasions too. So sometime within the next few episodes, especially the next 5 episodes, they're definitely going to bring in the Skrulls for sure. So we'll definitely be able to see what's going to happen as Kamala's story continues to unfold in the MCU. But yeah, as a comic book fan, definitely excited to see Kamala in the MCU. And so I'm actually very excited that she's part of the MCU lineup and MCU family too, because Kamala Khan is definitely part of the Marvel universe in the comics, and now she has that shared universe in the MCU as well. So I'm very excited for it. So Iman Vellani is an incredible actress, and not only does she look like Kamala Khan, but she epitomizes the role too, especially the way she was telling her story by the intro and how she was working on her YouTube channel and describing her story. And then her relationship with her parents and her family, that's practically the same thing in the comic books as well. And the Avengers Con, oh my gosh, it's like so many elements from Avengers video game, because she went to the exact same con when they were honoring the Avengers on Avengers Day. So it's definitely some elements from the video game as well. But yeah, definitely Avengers references as well. Of course, it's tied in with the MCU like so many other Marvel series, like, for example, the Avengers, Iron Man, Moon Knight, whatever the case may be. It all ties in the same universe, so definitely mentions them heavily as well. One thing that I actually did catch, it was pretty much an Easter egg for real, but one thing I did actually catch was when she was riding her bicycle with Bruno, when they were riding together. And when she was describing different personalities of the Avengers, she also mentioned about one particular person, how she was saying, what if I decided to eat your brains? And one thing I'm thinking, like, wow, was that a Venom reference? Even though Venom is in a different universe, but who knows, you might get Venom in the MCU too. But I actually did catch that, so I thought it was actually really kind of hilarious, because I don't know any anti-hero that wants to eat brains as much as Venom does. So yeah, but I thought it was actually kind of hilarious. And then I saw the background in Bruno's room with Nikolai Tesla, who was a scientist, and he was also known for feeding pigeons as well. There's like a poster on his background as well. So yeah, so I'm picked up a few more things, but we'll definitely do an Easter egg breakdown real quick with new rock stars. Also, I want to mention, as far as like the end credits, definitely Damage Control. They were the ones to actually confiscate technology and store it in. So they've made their appearances in Spider-Man Homecoming and No Way Home as well. So there's definitely some pretty cool references to Damage Control. They're basically like the minor version of S.H.I.E.L.D. or S.W.O.R.D. So pretty cool organization. So they go back since the 1980s for sure. But all in all, I'm definitely enjoying Miss Marvel. The first episode is amazing. So I'm not gonna dilly-dally any further. This is just basically my review of it. Let me know what you guys think in the bottom of the comments. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do an Easter egg breakdown with Eric Voss real quick. So without further ado, let's get right into it.
Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Eric Voss, and this is a breakdown of Miss Marvel Episode 1, which makes us wonder, why are the only superpowers I lead fan conventions with sunburn and COVID? Let's break down this first episode
No.
for the many MCU Easter eggs and details that you might have
Something-
missed.
something
And I was
COVID.
fortunate this time to talk to the directors of this episode, Adil and Bilal, who gave me some exclusive insights that I will be including in this breakdown. The Marvel Studios title card has now been updated with a shot of Doctor Strange from Multiverse of Madness, and then on the end,
noticed that too.
the man Moon Knight. Over this, we hear the Weeknd's Blinding Lights, a teaser.
Yeah, Moon Knight's there too, and then we did actually hear the intro to Blinding Lights, an instrumental version, and the Weeknd's voice too, so that was pretty cool.
The aesthetics of this series, many shots have blinding lens flares of the same kind of purple fuchsia color of Miss Marvel's hard light and the weird realm that she goes to. And it is literally blinding light that activates Kamala's powers at the convention. All of this
The song
reflecting
suits her,
how
too.
Kamala inadvertently finds herself blinded by the light of her own new cosmic powers, both how cool they are and the burden of being a superhero. This opening sequence is, I love it, a YouTube video as Kamala uses her drawings to recap the events of Avengers Endgame. Now, Kamala Khan first appeared as a fan of Captain Marvel Carol Danvers in a 2013 Captain Marvel comic, and then shortly after got her own spin-off in 2014 from writer G. Willow Wilson that explored her point of view as a Pakistani-American Muslim teenager in Jersey City, and really a total Marvel stan. That whole one-step removed fandom is at the heart of this character, and why so many comics readers, as Marvel fans ourselves, could connect with her. And it's just so great that this series opens with a Marvel fan video. I feel seen. Iman Vellani herself is an MCU nerd who carries around with her a notebook filled with MCU notes and questions, who I found out in the press conference is a big fan of this channel, might be watching right now, I hope so. All this to say, this opening feels super
I love
authentic.
Iman Vellani.
We start with Kamala's drawings, including Grouchy Hulk, and then hands together with Bismillah, an expression meaning in the name of God, an expression the characters say throughout this episode. We see her flying a sloth, and then Bigfoot with his nether regions and upper regions covered by stars. Kamala says this is a 10-part series on Earth's mightiest hero, using the Avengers moniker, but describing Captain Marvel's savior role in Endgame. We see drawings of Cap, Iron Man, Hulk, Black Panther, Vic, Thor, and Okoye slaying Thanos' forces in the final charge of Endgame. Hawkeye is using a rubber band bow flinging thumbtacks. There's a post-it note listing Captain Marvel's sightings, sandy beaches, Tokyo, dark alley, and an arena. Marla says the Avengers were losing at this point in the battle, and she's not wrong. It was really an all-is-lost moment when Captain Marvel showed up. I like how we see the main Avengers joined by Wanda Maximoff, Ant-Man, Valkyrie, and Pepper Potts' rescue, and we see Cap's shield broken. Marla says Thanos was being a jerk about magical stones, of course referring to the Infinity Stones, and we see his warship with "Boo, you suck" on a note in the corner. We hear an eagle screech over a bird with a Carol Danvers mohawk. Right below that is a drawing of Proxima Midnight, and then we see Carol's fighter jet and Carol flying past a sign that reads "The future is female." Then some comics art of Captain Marvel flying through space, and Kamala drags an MS Paint file of Captain Marvel across her desktop screen. What generation of computer is she using?
Right.
Kamala mentioned studying Scott Lang's podcast. It's called Big Me, Little Me on This Powered Life, which must be a parody of This American Life that does interviews with superheroes in the MCU, suggesting that this superhero confessional podcast was how the public of the MCU learned of everything the Avengers did during the Infinity War and Endgame events. And this might have been what informed Paul Greengrass's film, The Snap, that we saw on the in-play movie screen in Spider-Man Far From Home. Just a cool little detail that actually tells us a lot about the MCU. Now, when I asked the directors, Adil and Bilal, about other Avengers having podcasts in the MCU, here's what they had to say. Do you think any other Avengers might have a podcast series other than Scott Lang?
Well, it would be great to, I would love to know what the Hulk, what his podcast is, or Deadpool. Deadpool would be funny, I think. Imagine you have Deadpool and Blade doing a podcast together. That would be pretty cool.
You heard it here, folks. MCU canon, Blade and Deadpool have a podcast together. I think we should call it Steak Chimichanga. Steak spelled S-T-A-K-E.
Oh, bro, that's so awesome. Blade and Deadpool, a podcast.
Also, how she changed her hair for this return, and she did take on Thanos one by one.
She did,
Let's leave out, though, how Carol Danvers got walloped pretty hard with the Power Stone. I like how Cap and Scott Lang are seen with actual Band-Aids on them, and you can see how their torn limbs are taped back together with Scotch tape. Kamala addresses how Carol, the Cosmic Avenger, is not on Earth currently, recalling Brody calling Carol out in Endgame, and setting up whatever the plot will be for when Kamala Khan joins Monica Rambeau and Carol Danvers in film The Marvels. Here we see photos of Kamala's friends Bruno and Nakia and her brother Amir, and in this animation when Carol returns that the Avenger Con beside a Cap shield is a War Machine head wink looking over at a Carol head smooching, which is a nod to the romance between these two characters in the comics.
Yep.
Maybe in the MCU, I mean, they had that moment where they looked at each other in Endgame.
Kinda
And
did.
they needed BetterHelp for
My bro
sponsors of this
James.
video. If you
Yes, sir.
stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed, BetterHelp is here to help. BetterHelp offers licensed therapists who are trained to listen and to help you. Message your therapist in a private online environment at your convenience.
Oh, BetterHelp. Okay. That's pretty cool. I have to make sure I talk about that too for my ad. Yeah. Or whatever they tell me to do an ad like that though. So.
Then you schedule secure video and phone sessions, plus you can exchange unlimited messages, and everything you share is completely confidential. You can request a new therapist at no additional charge anytime. Join the 2 million plus people who have taken charge of their mental health with an experienced BetterHelp therapist. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/newrockstars, or click the link in the description. That's BETTERHelp.com/newrockstars.
It could be a theme song. BETTERHELP.
A reference, of course, to Thor playing Fortnite in Endgame. And she says new episodes drop every Wednesday, a nod to how this series drops on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's a good callback too.
Baby Productions, 2 subscribers almost.
So.
Must be Bruno and Akia, since they both leave comments on this video. Now, the Ms. Marvel press conference included me asking Iman Vellani directly if Kamala Khan subscribed to New Rockstars, and she said that she wasn't sure, but probably at least a variant of us. So sweet of her to be so kind to us. We love you, Iman. Especially since you know
Imani's
the
awesome,
rest of the
though.
show here. We're citing New Rockstars.
Definitely gonna meet her down the road for sure.
Titles. Truth revealed on the real Carol Danvers story. Ant-Man and the Wasp's romantic vacation in Paris. I like how that flying ant has a beret. And then, where did she get her powers? Bitten by a radioactive feminist? On this day, Kamala wears a shirt reading
That was funny.
Let's Get Information. We have Captain Marvel, Valkyrie, and Wasp parodying the Beyonce song. And we meet her family. Her brother Amir, her father Yusuf, and her mother Muniba. Of the three, I like how Yusuf is the rule breaker. He tells Amir to pray less, tells Kamala to skip stop signs and fake looking in the mirror. But the first thing Kamala does on her driving test after buckling in, mirror check with the aviators. It is clear that she is thinking to herself, hire for the faster baby, which may be also why she floors the gas. The driving instructors played by
some Top Gun references too, especially with Maria and Carol and Captain Marvel.
They were inspired by Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and like that movie does, the opening titles here flash through more of Kamala Khan's art, showing a comic cover drawn by her, Jersey City Comics, approved by the KK code. Kamala Khan.
It's very colorful too.
Back, but we'll look past that. In this comic issue, she battles
Authority Code, the comics Authority Code.
And on the page behind us are more drawings showing Scott Lang and Kamala's mutated human man-ant. As Kamala's parents drive her home, Munita says,
"This is my fault. This is all my fault. These are my genetics. I mean, I come from a long line of fantasizing on registered gay females. My mother was..."
Yeah, little clue here pointing to Kamala and her mother's family history, specifically Muniba's mother, as the source of the powers that Kamala gains. Kamala attends Coles Academic High School, where the founders are all comics writers and artists. Most crucial
comic writers again.
Character, of course, G. Willow Wilson, the Miss Marvel Comics writer I mentioned before. Stephen Wacker, Marvel animated producer behind many of Kamala's comic team-ups. Adrian Alfona, an artist on the first Kamala run. Jamie McKelvey,
Stevie Wacker, and G. Willow Wilson.
And designed Kamala Khan's first Miss Marvel outfit. Ian Herring, known for titles like Miss Marvel and Silk, especially. Takeshi Miyazawa, another artist who worked on the Kamala run. Joe Caramanga, a Marvel Comics writer on several titles over the years. And Nico Leon, another artist who worked on the Kamala comics. I love that they get
so many
shout
important
out here.
people.
I hope that Disney pays them all a little bonus too. We meet Kamala's friends, Bruno Corelli and Nakia Bahadir, and the popular girl of the school, Zoe Zimmer, always from this particular run of the comics. Around the school are signs reading, "Dustin for Prez, he is a very good choice." Dustin Berry was the guy who worked in the set department for the show and a number of MCU titles. Kamala meets with guidance counselor Gabe Wilson, I assume named after G. Willow Wilson. GWW is written on his desk organizer. A quick montage of Kamala's mishaps all show flashes of light, the dodgeball hit, the chemistry explosion, the sunlight beaming in on the art teacher. Kamala is blinded by the light at the beginning, setting her up to eventually control and master the light. Mr. Wilson motivates Kamala with the lyrics of Reflection from Mulan. I'm not gonna lie, high school staff could do worse than just recite Disney lyrics to kids.
Right.
I know fantasy's fun. Fantasy's really fun. But right now, I need you to pull yourself together
and join reality.
And I like how the split screen reflects how divided Kamala is right now, staying grounded in reality or escaping into her dreams and fantasies. Her path forward is in the latter. The Circle Q shop shows up, Kamala's home base in this run of the comics.
Yep.
She and Bruno plan to go to Avengers Con, which is a lot like the 8A celebration
cute.
in the Avengers game, which leads to Kamala Khan getting her
Exactly.
powers in San Francisco. The graffiti they bike past all comes to light. It looks amazing, visualizing their final flourish pitches. We see steampunk Captain Marvel, mashups Captain Panther or Iron Marvel. They end up in a cat fight. Then Doctor Strange Marvel, who comes in from a portal and makes that same banned-out arm pose as the Images of Icon spell that we saw in Infinity War and the Souls of the Damned in Multiverse of Madness. Then Captain Marvel on a Pegasus, like Valkyrie rode in Endgame and Jane rides in Thor 4. Then Princess Captain Marvel, who changes the graffiti word to shine. Then Zombie Captain Marvel, her thumb balls off. I love that. And when they're all rejected, they all look really sad. Like you can see Steampunk Ghost taking her hat off. Interesting how Kamala watches an episode of Felicity. Like,
And again, I wanted to point out that basically when they were riding together, that basically Bruno and Kamala are having a conversation. She actually pointed out that, what happens if I eat your brain? So I'm thinking that was either a cruel joke or a Venom reference. So I'm thinking it could be a Venom reference too. So I gotta point that out to Eric too, though. So.
Is that playing on TV and syndication anymore? But then Kamala's upside down world turns right side up on this delivery from Hernani, showing how what's inside that box is really the answer that will straighten out her life, the bangle. An artifact that Muniba has definitely seen before, and immediately tells Amir to hide in the attic. When you think about it, this whole afternoon with Kamala and her mom must have been unplanned. Like originally Muniba was going to go wedding shopping with Amir, but she took Kamala to take Kamala's mind off of the bangle and off of her grandmother. Now there are a lot of ways we could read this bangle, exactly what it is for now. It could be an analog of the great Nega Band that transports Marvel to the negative zone.
Some big comparisons too, the Nega Bands.
Quasar to fire energy flasks. I actually think this is some extraterrestrial tech. There is some indecipherable writing and a symbol that looks like a starburst. But really more importantly,
just
for
like
Kamala, I
Captain
think it's something
Marvel.
connected to her family history.
Captain
They get home
Marvel's
and greet Bruno.
I'll find you something to go.
No, I'm good.
Hey, how was it?
Don't mention Belgium or any guy named
Did you ask her about it?
No, no. There's a spicy one at the bottom for no now,
Oh my
okay?
gosh. How did you do that so fast?
Whoa, so I timed it out. Muniba put that to-go bag together in 10 seconds. If it's meant to be just a super mom gag, you don't really see Muniba do this anywhere else. I'm just saying, it could just be a joke for the mom, or the women of this family might have something going on with them. Her parents refuse to let her attend Avenger Con, and Amir checks in on her, asking if she's still afraid of the Jinn. Jinns are spirits and demons in Arabic mythology,
Yeah.
the term and concept later anglicized as
Genie.
She claims to no longer be afraid of the dark, but she does use a starlight projector thing in her bedroom. Don't worry, Kamala, having a healthy fear of demons is just part of being a true mama. Poster
Oh my gosh, right. Yeah, so that's basically what that is. Like, it could be a reference to both, like going back to the writing. Like I said, Venom is basically in Sony's universe for sure. But I think it's a reference to that. Now, also, when I think about Jinn, that's pretty much what Genie is in Aladdin, for example. Like, he's basically what you would consider to be a Jinn. Also, in Sonic and the Black Knight, he basically teams up with one of the females, and then they go up against a character. The antithesis, the antithesis is basically the eraser Jinn. So, again, Jinns are pretty much common in mythological lore. So.
Behind her bed shows Captain Marvel from Jerry Dodson's cover of the comic Captain Marvel number 5. It really just seems like they pulled every awesome looking comics image of Captain Marvel and put it on her bedroom walls. I like how Kamala's text appears in the starlights of her ceiling, whereas Bruno's response takes the form of the street paint as the taxi drives over it. But in addition to
The Texas too.
I like how they did this practically by igniting the neon signs in the store windows. And
I like
then
it too.
the LED marquee showing their ellipses and their emojis. Kamala's parents trying to compromise that Kamala can go to Avengers Con with her dad, with her as Little Hulk, him as Big Hulk, which I would love to have my parents offer to do this with me. I don't think I'd find it embarrassing. But
Yeah, me neither. I don't think it was embarrassing
and
either.
there's a huge missed opportunity here to have Yusuf sadly walk out to the 80s Hulk figure.
Oh, that's a good. Oh, okay. You know what? I should have caught that. That definitely was a good. Oh, definitely was a good call out too. When he was walking away, they actually put the background music to the Incredible Hulk. Okay, that makes sense. The TV series, that sad melody every time when Bruce Banner or David Banner walks away to go to another city to protect people from not getting exposed to the Hulk. It's just like that. I just caught that.
Like, yeah, wouldn't that have been awesome? I mean, they did use this track in the 2008 Hulk film.
Yeah, Yeah, they kind of did. Yep.
When Kamala fell into the
They
Hudson
used that thing
River,
from
which is something
2008
that
Incredible Hulk
happens so
too.
similar in the comics that leads to Kamala's first superpowered rescue. Kamala and Bruno sit on the roof, their feet dangling by an Iron Man sign, but it looks a bit blurred. And that might have been because the show's producers were told to tone down the numerous Iron Man references they were going to make. But actually, if you look really closely, you can barely make out that this is really an Iron Man themed cereal called Iron Brand.
Iron Brand.
Behind them is a sign for Edison Electric with these bolt images, which might be teasing Kamala's eventual logo of a lightning bolt. He gives her these gloves for her cosplay.
Are those photon gloves?
Yeah. Yes, photon is capitalized in the closed captioning, meaning that they are referring to Monica Rambeau, Photon, from her mother Maria's call sign. She goes by both Photon and Spectrum in the comics, but WandaVision never actually named her. So she's now confirmed as Photon. And apparently enough of a public figure for Kamala and Bruno to know about her and her powers, which is interesting. Now, the directors had this to say about the Photon Easter egg. How do they know who Monica Rambeau is? I want to ask you guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah. Whenever we would ask a question like that to Kevin Feige, he would say, I don't answer that. I would say that people see and discover like anybody else, because we would always say, hey, so what happens in the Marvels actually? What or you know, Doctor Strange or in Spider-Man, and he would always say, no, if there's a problem, I'll tell you, and I don't tell you why. So just stay in the Marvel world. Stay in lane.
So to me,
so cool.
that sounds like it might have been a deliberate inclusion by the studio to set up Kamala's coming crossover with Monica and Carol. Kamala breaks down her elaborate plan to Bruno to get to Avengers Con. In her fantasy, her cosplay is actual MCU wardrobe standard, and she does a Black Widow landing out her window, the pose, something that the show's producers said Kamala would know as one of the few female superheroes.
Thank you, Elena, for that catchphrase. And every time when Natasha lands. Yep. So many Tony Stark cosplays there too. So.
Where Steve and Black Widow returned to Winter Soldier, and Cap and Tony visited in 1970 in Endgame. On the bus in this fantasy are cosplayers of the Star Spangled Dancers and Loki and Sorcerer with a shield. Among all the fantasy selfies are a pipe, a cylindrical Rocket Raccoon, and Nick Fury.
Yeah, then Captain America's theme, of course, was in the background music of Avengers Con, which goes back to Captain America, the first Avenger, when Cap was doing the stage performance while the performers, the ladies, are singing in the background. That's there too, so I caught that when I first saw it. That was obvious.
Princess Captain Marvel, and then the set transitions practically into an upright bed, which is the same camera trick of the Nexus antidepressant commercial in WandaVision. And while Kamala's plan ultimately goes awry, she does end the night dropping into bed. Yes, this dream plan immediately falls apart. Instead of a superhero landing out her window, she breaks the tree branch and falls hard. That was the way she was going to get back into her room. Really, the only way she's able to get back into her window is with the help of that hard light that she's later able to summon. Poor Bruno, even his outfit doesn't look as cool. We learn later his whole cosplay is just a white lab coat for Bruce Banner. This poor guy spent way more time making Kamala's cosplay suit than he did his own. We all need friends like Bruno, but instead, we don't talk about it. The Camp Lehigh banner is actually similar to the sign at the gate when Tony and Cap arrived in 1970 in Endgame. They added Cap's shield in the middle of it, and I like how they put this large statue of Captain America in a Jeep. If you listen to the music playing in the scene, it is the Star Spangled Man with the plan.
Exactly.
I like the little dance that the guy in the Wakandan garb does to celebrate his awesome looking fit. Inside, the convention booths include Things Hulk Smashed, which I guess is just a collection of rubble and broken stuff from all of Hulk's collateral damage over the years. You can see a fridge with a giant handprint in it. There's a giant man Scott Lang display with a fairy and a pool recreating his size up in the San Francisco Bay and Ant-Man and the Wasp. There's a Cosmic Avenger Captain Marvel setup. There's a Realm of Asgard with a Thor throne that you can sit on. We see the Iron Man dancers from the Stark Expo in Iron Man 2. Mugs of Mjolnir ale. Some art pieces referencing America's ass.
I understood that reference.
Then there's a memorial wall for the fallen with messages to various loved ones pinned up to it. In the middle is Natasha and Tony on display, but no Vision. Also in the upper right of all the notes,
where's Vision?
Accords. I assume someone
Vision's an Avenger too.
Hey, why you gotta make this so political, bro? There's another booth with a guy dressed as Drax, showing a DVD on sale, The Peter Quill Star Boy Story. Pal to All Planets, a 40-minute documentary series. I like how the title calls him Star Boy, keeping up with a recurring gag of messing up his name.
It isn't Star Prince.
Star Lord.
Oh, sorry.
Presumably, if Quill himself would have been the source for this, they probably would have gotten his name right, so I'm guessing this is a third party trying to cash in on it. Also in the background is a shelf with rocket plushies labeled Trash Pandas, because that's what he is. He's a trash panda.
Is that better?
It's so much worse. Another guy hands out pamphlets for Avenger tours to New Asgard, which might be
Rock
part
is
of the
cool,
tourist
though.
attractions that we are now seeing in Thor: Love and
Trash
Thunder
panda.
footage. Now, here's a fun one. After Kamala leaves the bathroom, there is a cardboard Captain America and a cardboard Iron
spotted
Man
that
on
one
the
too.
left of the frame, which were actually cameos by Sagar Sheikh and Marisha Shah, who play Amir and Cameron. Thanks to Sagar, friend of the show, who actually sent me a photo of him and Wish on set.
That's
Kamala
awesome.
is able to unlock the bangle by twisting a small circle that turns 4 other cogs, and then it clips on and extends, then coats her body with a layer of cosmic radiation, and then she falls backward into this interesting purple-tinted realm filled with shadowy figures, their eyes glowing. Many of them look bald and caped, carrying spears. I don't know, they look a bit like Watchers, a statue of whom
Kinda do.
Thor 4. Now, if this bangle is based on the Kree and Nega Bands, we might be looking at the negative zone, but I think this is going to be more personal to Kamala and her family, her Nani. The purple infusion
And
tones
see,
actually remind me a lot
I
of the
kind of
ancestral
caught that
plane, which
too. Like the negative zone, I kind of caught that as well. It's just pretty much like when I first saw the trailer for the first time, when she actually activated the bands and she went backwards and we saw another world which looked exactly like the negative zone. That's what I thought too. So it's kind of interesting that he points that out. But he's also going to point out the fact that the other world that T'Challa goes to when he becomes the Black Panther, we pretty much be able to see that too. So it's basically like the astral plane in a
Knight
sense.
just told us is part of the same MCU afterlife network as the Egyptian underworld. We could be looking at another spiritual realm that's connected with the ancestors of the Khan women, ancestors who might be extraterrestrial, Kree, or Skrull, or Kree experiments on the humans, the Inhumans.
Which
because in the comics,
I'll
Kamala
talk
gets
about in
her
a
powers by
second.
being enveloped
It's pertaining
in
to her
terrigen
mom.
mist, a process called terrigenesis that creates Inhumans. And in her terrigen
Yep,
cocoon, she
terrigenesis.
sees the forms of Cap and Iron Man and Captain Marvel. It comes out in a form modeled on her idol Carol Danvers, but with stretchy limbs, before she realizes that she could just look like herself. In Marvel lore, the Inhumans are genetic experiments by the Kree, and in the MCU, the Kree Supreme Intelligence uses tech in which its form manifests based on the perceiver's inner desires.
Right.
So, Kamala's cosmic powers from this bangle may still be Kree or Inhuman in origin, but coming to Kamala by way of her Pakistani grandmother, who maybe could have been an extraterrestrial refugee on Earth with alien technology to harness the power of the cosmos to manifest one's inner desires. In fact, this layer of cosmic radiation wisping around her body could be the MCU's version of terrigen mist. I'm just doing my best to theorize how this works. We'll learn more.
Hey, that makes sense,
Now,
man.
it actually takes the stage.
It could be
right
just
to
basically
which
like
her powers
terrigen mist and all that.
activate
So
the
yeah.
flashing camera. And as she is blinded by the light, she emits a series of crystalline discs, what the show calls hard light,
Hard
the same
light,
colors of the realm she fell into. Now, yes, this is the change from Kamala's powers in the comics, in which she can stretch and embiggen her limbs like Reed Richards can, but the producers have said that they want to better align MCU Kamala with where the MCU currently is. That seems to be either cosmic radiation of Captain Marvel and Photon and the Kree, or maybe a kind of mystical light inherited from her grandmother. Or really, again, as I think, a mix of the two. One blast of these knocks the giant man helmet loose, so that this thing boulders through the convention, Rude Goldberging the Avengers boost, so that a giant Mjolnir swings right in the zone. Think about it, Kamala, this is
That
her
was
worst
funny.
nightmare. Something that she did, causing the collapse of every Avenger before her eyes. In the comics, Kamala's first hero moment is saving Zoe and beginning her hand to lift her from the Hudson River. Here, she uses the cosmic extension of her hand and arm to cushion
It's a
Zoe's
good callback,
fall. Actually,
too.
in the closing credits of this episode, you can see an embiggened version of Kamala's hand catching Zoe, as it looks in the comics. The animation on the house as Kamala gets home shows the time as 11:11, which is the time one makes a wish. A nod to Kamala going through a bit of wish fulfillment here. Her mother catches her
Makes sense.
sneaking back in.
Do you want to be good, like we raised you to be? Or do you want to be some, this cosmic head in the clouds person?
And dropping back down on her bed, Kamala answers.
Cosmic.
Yes, this decision comes to Kamala falling backward, just as she did when she first snapped on that bangle and fell into her, what I think, ancestral netherworld. And when you think back to the earlier scene, this reaffirms her accidental reverse on the driving test as exactly the right direction for her, moving backward, but really just to give herself a runway to launch into the cosmos. The closing credits have a few more fun Easter eggs. Kamala's iconic red Converses and her scarf from the comics. We see a Trust a Bro moving truck from Hawkeye. And we see the
Trust
same
a Bro,
Kamala yellow bolt on purple t-shirt design from the comics. Now there's a quick shot of the skyscraper
Easter egg
with
is
the
a cool one.
vestiges of the Avengers Tower her Quinjet landing pad, but it's a new facade. This is no longer Avengers Tower. I would say this could be the Baxter Building, but Multiverse of Madness showed the Baxter Foundation in Central Park. Then again, that was 838. This is 616. Even though Iman Vellani vocally disagrees with Kevin Feige on the MCU's numerical designation, I'm sorry, we love you, Iman, but I gotta go with Papa Feige on this one. Then on to a post-credit scene featuring the return of Ariana Moayed as DODC agent Cleary from Spider-Man No Way Home. Last seen interrogating Peter Parker, MJ Med, and Aunt May before Matt Murdock was able to get the DODC to drop the charges.
Damage
Cleary
control.
and Agent Deaver now see footage of Kamala and decide to bring her in, meaning this series is gonna shed some more light on what the DODC is up to, their connections to Nick Fury and Sword, and hopefully confirm my
Department of Damage
suspicions
Control.
that Agent Cleary might be a Skrull connected with Marvel's secret invasion plans. His concerned look suggests he has seen this kind of technology before, and if Cleary is a Skrull, he might be seeing some Kree weapons tech emerging in one of the Kree sleeper cells Nick Fury, aka the Skrull Talos, mentioned in Spider-Man Far From Home. Remember, Kree and Skrulls are forever at war, so we'll probably learn more about in Secret Invasion. And the next title, Kamala Khan is going to appear in The Marvels. So maybe now this look is telling us that Cleary is seeing some evidence of a Kree sleeper cell with the Kree genetic experiments called Inhumans, which might be what Kamala Khan's Pakistani ancestors were. We will see. And I'm not sure how much to read into this, but under Stever's phone on her desk are wanted flyers for a Caucasian woman, 5'8", brown hair, 180 pounds, wanted in connection to a double homicide on July 12, 1979 in the municipal graveyard. 1979 is ages ago in MCU history, and my only guess, based on a graveyard slaying, is that this might tie into Blade somehow. There are some photos on their board showing some folks from older eras, maybe vampires are on their docket too. That's everything I spotted in this great first episode of Miss Marvel. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at
So it's crazy though. But great episode. So what I was gonna say is that there's definitely gonna be some connections, and I believe the fact that maybe the reason why Kamala's mom is so hesitant with Kamala being the so-called cosmic head in the clouds, there might be some connections between her ancestors and how they, in the past, there have been women that actually worn the bands themselves. So maybe she's keeping Kamala from learning the secrets and the parents might know about it. We'll see as the episode progresses. I know it's been discussed ever since the trailer actually dropped for Miss Marvel, so I think there's going to be some connections. But yeah, terrigen mist that actually surrounded her, I can definitely see that too, because like I said, that's actually how Kamala got her powers in the comics. So I like the way they actually added their touch to it as far as like how she got her powers. And then when she ever to activate her cosmic powers, you can still see the embiggen powers as well, when she stretches out her hands or when she uses her legs to glide or to walk or to run, so, or to sprint even. So it's still there though. So like I said, no complaints from me. Series is great. Rotten Tomatoes actually ranked at 95%. So, and then of course the other websites have actually ranked it like 90% to 9 out of 10. So I love this series. I mean, if anything, it's a 10 out of 10 for me, because it's definitely straight up for the comics, and then this always in your face, it catches your attention. And then it's very lively too, and it's upbeat, and you can pretty much hear the story from Kamala's point of view as well. So, but I love it. I can't wait for the next 5 episodes. So I'll definitely do the next 5 episodes for the review, do the Easter eggs breakdown. So we'll definitely do that too. So can't wait to do episode 2 and the next 5 episodes as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I love you guys so much. Thank you for your support, and as Stanley will always say, Excelsior. So, I love you guys. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to my channel, keep doing your thing. I love you guys so much, and always stay positive and stay lit. I'll catch y'all on the next one.